Today, we're gonna take a look at something small, something lightweight, something very affordable. It's the 2025 Jayco Jay Flight SLX Sport Edition 170BH. Now, this is not a very high content RV. There's not a lot of crazy features, but it can sleep 5, and as a weekend warrior mobile, I think it's worth the money. Now, being a 17-foot living space in a box and right at 3,000 pounds, this is not a very big trailer. It doesn't even have a slide. So as soon as I come in the door, what do we have as far as a control panel? A couple of light switches and a way to run that awning in and out, plus a tank checker, all right here by the front door. Now, outside of that, we walk in and we're pretty well inside of everything this trailer has to offer. There's a queen bed in the front, tucked up and off to the side. We've got a wall-mounted air conditioner instead of a roof-mounted air, which does shorten up your overall riding height. And at this large of a trailer, that should be plenty of AC for this little box. When it comes to storage, we have a huge deep shelf up above the main bed, as well as a closet here in the back for hanging a few things. And then off to the side, we've got a spot where we could potentially mount a TV to either watch from bed or to watch from the dinette. The dinette also collapses into a bed. That means that this could potentially sleep a guest. There's storage kind of up underneath it, not quite. What I mean by that is it's taken up by the converter on one side, and on the other, if we lift it up, you'll see that we do have a little piece of wood that we can lift to get in there, but it's not super easily accessible. They did put in some extra cabinets up high on the wall for us to just keep odds and ends, and those are directly across from our kitchen, which has, again, more storage. The cabinetry here is pretty simple. Up above the sink and down below it, we have some basic open spaces. We certainly have a couple of drawers that slide out with ease and lock down as they close, which is kind of nice. A 2-burner stovetop, a pretty simple sink. At least they put a high-rise faucet on it so we can still wash out those pots and pans. An Envision microwave with a big open spot underneath it, and a relatively small 12-volt refrigerator that does have a little freezer compartment inside so you can create ice. Now, when it comes to dedicated sleeping space, we do have 2 bunk beds built into the corner by the back bathroom. They have a 300-pound sleeping capacity, and Jayco does put on their sticker a slight difference in their storage capacity, where they say 200 pounds. Now, I imagine that's because these are at the back of the vehicle, and storing something on them while rolling down the road would be rather bouncy versus a static human sleeping on top. I'm assuming that's what that weight difference means. Now, the big question is, does someone like me at 6'3" fit into the bunk? Let's find out. Oh, it is pollen season. So climbing in, there is room for a 6'3" person, and I can kind of just toss my shoes out of the way and hide them, which is nice. When I lay down, if I lay down perfectly straight, my head definitely hits one side and my feet hit the other, but I kind of expect that at 6'3". It is worth noting, though, that they did provide both the top and bottom bunk with USB ports. So at the back of the camper is the bathroom. It is of note, too, that there are vents in here. So we have a vent right here above the microwave, a vent above the shower. There's no fan in them, though, so it just opens or closes, which is enough to let some stuff go. When it comes to the bathroom, we have a typical foot flush toilet. Now, at 6'3", I can stand up in this shower tub combo. However, my head has to be in this vent. There's no sink in there. You have to come out to the kitchen to use the sink, and you might have to install your own form of storage in some form of a towel rack on the wall. Other than that, The bathroom is relatively spacious for this size of a camper. I can sit on the commode just fine. When it comes to the outside of this trailer, when we started the video, I said it's decontented, i.e. it doesn't have as much as some of the others on the market, and we're gonna find that to be true right here on the patio side. At the front, down low, you'll notice that we do have a big storage hatch and plenty of it's not really pass-through, it's just open on one side storage space, but it's deep, it's wide, it's acceptable. But look up underneath it. We don't have any front stabilizer jacks, so they have two in the rear and the tongue jack up front, which for a lot of people I think will be fine just because it's such a small unit. Me personally, being a big guy, I like the idea of having that extra stability in the front, so I would probably have my dealer add a couple of those. We have a pretty simple single-step entry, and while this does have an electric awning, the awning doesn't have a light. But you can run it in and out at the touch of a button, which is pretty cool. When it comes to power on the outside of the RV, they've given us a couple of outlets right by the door, so we do have patio side power. Plugging in a light, not a problem. Standard little wheels here, they're just the steel wheels, nothing fancy to see there. Low point drains just beyond that. And then at the rear of the camper, you'll notice some more things. If you look up high, you'll notice that we are not pre-wired for a camera. However, that's a 12-volt light up there. We could probably run some wiring to get you a backup cam if you needed to. There's no spare tire on that 4-inch square tube bumper. That's something that would be added aftermarket. And this, while it does have a Lippert mount for a ladder to get up on the roof, it doesn't come with that ladder. However, that roof is walkable. And then as we approach the off-door side, in the rear down low, we have our main sewage station. Right above it, you'll see the access to our water heater and a cable TV input, should you have access to that wherever you're parked and camping. I'm kind of surprised they went with a detachable cord and didn't just hardwire one in that we shoved back into the camper, but hey, that's actually kind of nice. I like the detachable cord. A little further up, you'll notice that we have our water in for the fresh tank, and then up high, we have a mount where our air conditioning is on the inside. So instead of being roof mounted, it's wall mounted. We saw that while we were in there. At the front of the vehicle, we have that radiused front cap just for aerodynamics. There is a rock guard down low, and then a single propane tank along with a hand crank tongue jack up front. Now this isn't a very big or very heavy unit, so doing this is actually pretty easy. You don't necessarily need an electric one, but they are pretty convenient. Overall, I do really like this little camper. I think it's a great price point relative to others like it on the market today. I think it's one of those that you gotta shop for yourself in person, compare feature to feature, spec to spec, get inside the camper and feel it out and see if it works for you and your family. It's certainly worth checking out in person at Southern RV. We've got locations in Cumming and McDonough. You can also visit us online at southernrv.com or give us a call with any questions at 770-477-0552. And please like, comment, subscribe, share. It really helps out our channel. And until next time, happy camping.